Hello and welcome everyone. This is Shivangi Dhawan. In today's video, we will be discussing about dividend policies. Dividend policy is the guideline for dividend distribution drafted by the board of directors of the company. The policy includes parameters for sharing profits with the shareholders. It also includes how often and in which form the dividends are to be distributed. It is a decision about distribution of dividend to its shareholders. It is basically a financial decision that involves deciding on the dividend payout ratio, the frequency of dividends, and should the dividends be paid at all or not. It is drafted by, again, company's board of directors, and it acts as the guidelines for distributing dividends to the investors. So, dividend decision of any firm depends upon the profits, investment opportunities in the hands of the company, availability of funds with the company, industry trends in dividend payments, and company's dividend payment history. So, it is basically concerned with the financial policies regarding paying the cash dividend in the present or paying an increased dividend at a later stage. The dividend policies can be classified into number of categories like regular dividend policy, irregular dividend policy, stable dividend policy, residual dividend policy, no dividend policy. It is basically the strategies which is followed to decide the amount of dividends and the timing of the payments, and we have number of theories also for that, like that is Modigliani, Miller theory, Gordon's theory, Walter's theory, um, are some of the dividend policy theories. And the important classification of the dividend policy can be the stable dividend policy, where company aims for a steady dividend payout every year, irrespective of change in income. Constant dividend policy, where specific percentage of the company's earnings is paid out as dividends every year, and residual dividend policy, where company pays the dividends from the funds left after they have met their capital expenditure requirements. So, based on these policies, we have a question here. That is, a company expects that its net income and capital expenditure over next 4 years would be as given below. So, we are given 4 years, the net income and capital expenditure. The company has 10,000 shares outstanding on which it has paid a dividend of rupees 2.50 per share last year. What will be the dividend per year and external financing requirements for each of the above 4 years if the company follows? So we need to find out dividend per year and external financing requirements if a particular company, if this company basically is following these four policies. That is, the first one is constant dividend per share, pure residual policy, constant dividend payout policy of 40%, constant dividend per share of rupees 2, that is fixed, and the extra dividend of 60% at times of super normal earnings, and normal earnings of the company is 50,000 per annum. So it means that if company is earning anything above 50,000, they will be paying 60% of that amount for as an extra dividend. Out of four policies, which one is more suitable and which one is more volatile? We need to comment on this particular thing. So let's do this question. So we know that the first policy is the constant dividend per share, which is given to us, that is 2.5. So how we will do that? We have number of years, that is year 1, 2, 3, 4. Dividend per share is given to us because we are following the constant dividend policy, so it will remain 2.5, 2.5, 2.5. Total dividend of 25,000 is basically, we know that total number of shares, that is 10,000, is given to us. So we have taken that. So total number of shares into dividend per share will give us the total dividend. So here we can see it, the formula, that is DPS into total number of shares will give us total dividend. We can just activate this formula, enter it, and you may drag it down to get the same answer in every year, that is total number of shares and dividend per share. Net income and capital expenditure is given to us. Retained earnings, we know that net income minus total dividend will give us the retained earnings. So here our formula will be net income minus total dividend, and we got our answer. Now, what are we left with? We are retaining this much amount here, and this 5,000 we are assuming that are taken from revenue reserves. Okay, so external financing in the first year will be 10,000. How? Uh, we are retaining only 30,000. So, and we have a capital expenditure plan for 40,000. So we need to raise 10,000 more as external financing in order to, we can just go with our capital, or we can meet our capital requirements. Similarly, here, if we assume that these 5,000 is taken from revenue and reserves, we need 35,000 of external financing. Then in this case, we are already having 35,000 as retained earnings, and 55,000 is a capital expenditure requirement. So we need 20,000 as external financing. Here, we are having the retained earnings of 65,000, and our capital expenditure is of only 45,000, and we require no external financing as we have enough retained earnings. So this is how this first part of the question is solved. In the next part, it says that pure residual policy needs to be followed. So whatever is left, then only we will be paying the dividend. So here, year is given to us 1, 2, 3, 4. Capital expenditure and net income is also given to us. So we have written all the given information, right? Typed all the given information. Now the residual income. So if we are having net income of 55,000 and we are first fulfilling our capital requirements, so we are left with 15,000 of residual income here. Zero here because our net income is 20,000 and our capital expenditure of 35,000. So we are left with no option. Instead, we can't pay any dividend. And for meeting our capital expenditure requirement, first we need to raise the money, that is 15,000 of external financing. Here, 5,000 is residual income, and here 45,000. So based on that, if we have met our capital expenditure requirements, dividend per share can be calculated. So here it is very easy to calculate. 15,000 is the income and 10,000 is a number of shares. So 15,000 divided by 10,000, and we can fix this particular cell. We will get the answer as 1.5 per share. Similarly, for the stuff, we can calculate it. And as in this case, we are having no residual income. So in order to meet our capital expenditure, we need to go for external financing of 15,000. But in other cases, we need no internal financing as we are having the enough amount of retained earnings given to us. So I hope this question was useful or understandable. Next is the third part. Third part says that constant dividend payout policy of 40%. Okay. So here, it's very easy. Year is given to us, capital expenditure, and then again net income is given to us. So this is the given information. Now, total dividend is 40% of the net income. So here, instead of calculating anything else or residual income, anything, first we need to calculate the percentage of dividend that we are paying out of our net income. So 55,000 into 40% will give us the answer. So here you can apply the formula in this cell, that is 0.4, that is 40% into 55,000, and drag it down in order to calculate it for all years. So we have got the total dividend. Now it is very easy for us to calculate the dividend per share. How we can do that? Here dividend per share can be calculated as this amount 22,000 divided by 10,000. In order to get, we will divide the total dividend by number of shares in order to get the dividend per share, and then you may drag it down in order to get dividend per share in each case. Now you are okay with the dividend and everything. Now the only thing left is whether there is any requirement of external financing. So you can see it here that if you pay the dividend of 22,000, okay, so what you are left with, and whether you will be able to meet your capital expenditure, and whether you require any external financing. So you will be using this formula here, that is D16. D16 is 55,000, that is our net income minus our dividend. So after subtracting the dividend and after subtracting the capital expenditure, what else we require? So we still require 7,000 rupees. So we will be raising this money through external financing for the company. Similarly, we will apply this formula in all the other cells, and in all the other cells. So here it is again, this 20,000 minus 8,000. So we are left with 12,000 minus 35,000. We require additional 23,000 of external financing. Also in the third case, this is the same thing. That is 60,000 minus 24,000 and then minus 55,000. We still require external financing of this. Then in the next case, we have net income of 90,000 and a total dividend of 36,000, and we are left with a large amount. So here there is no requirement to have external financing because we have enough net income, or we are having super normal earnings where we can meet both our dividend requirements and our capital expenditure requirement. Because after subtracting, if you can see, net income minus 36,000, you're getting 54,000, and you have enough amount to meet your capital expenditure also. So here you are not required to have any amount of external financing. Therefore, we have written 0 here and not included the formula, right? I hope it is understandable. The next part is the constant dividend per share is 2. This is given to us, this is fixed. An extra dividend of 60% at times of supernormal earnings. Normal earnings of the company is 50,000 per annum. Okay, so let's do this question here. Year capital expenditure, net income is given to us, right? So this is okay. Now, dividend per share can be calculated, very important, and we just follow the questions guidelines that is mentioned. That is, 2 is fixed, 2 rupees per share is fixed, plus 60% of the supernormal earnings. Okay, and if we divide that particular amount by the number of shares that we have, 10,000, we will get the per share amount here. So 2 plus 2 is the constant dividend, and 60% of that amount will give the total dividend per share. So let's do it how. So here our income is 55,000, which is supernormal, because as per this question, our normal earnings are 50,000. So we are having an additional amount, or we can say a surplus of 5,000 here. Therefore, we have taken 2, that is fixed for us, plus 60% of 5,000 divided by number of shares in order to get this figure also in dividend per share. Then 2 plus this will give us the dividend per share as 2.3. Similarly, for this, we are having the additional, we are having the net income as 20,000, and we are having no supernormal earnings, okay, and not even normal earnings are there. So our constant dividend payout ratio, that is fixed, 2 will be followed here, because we are having no amount of supernormal earnings to pay the extra dividend. So we are just paying the constant dividend. Then 60,000 is our net income in the third year, which is that we are having 10,000 surplus. So here we can calculate it as, if I zoom it for you, you can calculate it as like this. 2 is fixed plus 60% of 10,000 whole divided by 10,000 will give you the 2.6 as dividend per share. Similarly, here we are having 90,000, which is 40,000 above the limit, and we can easily calculate 2 is fixed for us. 0.6, that is 60% of 40,000, that is our supernormal earnings, divided by the number of shares, that is K2, and we will get 4.4. So by multiplying it with the number of shares, we can get our total dividend. So 2.3 into 10,000, 2 into 10,000, 2.6 into 10,000, 4.4 into 10,000, we can easily calculate our total dividend. So now if we have our total dividend, we can calculate our retained earnings, that is net income minus total dividend. So this is what we have done here. So 20 minus 20 will give you 0, and other amounts are here for you. Capital expenditure is already given in the question, just like here we are having this. So here uh, it's okay till here. Then external financing. Now we have the retained earnings of 32,000 after we have paid the dividend, and we have to make the capital expenditure of 40,000. So we are 8,000 less. So we need to raise this particular amount of 8,000 by way of external financing. So this is how we have solved this, and we came to this conclusion. Then here we need to raise the whole figure of 35,000 as external financing. Here also 55,000 minus 34,000, 21,000 we need to raise from external financing. And here our retained earnings are 46,000 and capital expenditure is 45,000. So we need not have to raise any money because we are having sufficient retained earnings where we can easily meet our capital expenditure requirements. So here our external financing requirements are 0. So this was the fourth part and very important part of this question. So as per, if we just analyze the results, we can see it that constant dividend per share plus supernormal profit is a more suitable policy. We can see that we are having a decent amount of dividend per share every year, and also pure residual policy, pure residual, let me just correct the spelling here. Residual policy is the most volatile policy. If you say here, if you see it here, 1.50, sometimes you're not having any dividend. So this is the, and sometimes it's just 0.5, and then again it is 4.5. So it's the most volatile policy. So this is our comment for the uh, question asked to us in this particular problem. So I hope this question was understandable, and please, if you have any questions, you can write down in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and all the best for your practice. Bye-bye.